All right, everybody. Tuesday afternoon, meteorologist Gerfen in with some severe weather coverage. We have meteorologist Dickey, who's also in the studio with me as well. And we've got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. He's out on the storm tracker. You'll see him during the 5 and 6 o'clock hours during the newscasts. But we do have some warnings that have now finally popped up into our viewing area. And so we'll be talking about those in this update right now. Currently 4:13 right now, and we have, as you can see, most of the viewing area has been very quiet, but there's been a lot of activity in the northern part of our viewing area. And so as I kind of move up there, you'll notice you got this big complex of storms that are mainly just off to the north of our viewing area, with at times those storms, especially for Kankakee County, at times have had warnings of up to 70 mile an hour wind gusts there. So unfortunately, we do have some minor computer issues in terms of the warnings don't pop up right now. So let me get over to our most recent update here on my phone, and I'll provide you with more of that information here.
That's a 60 and quarters.
It's just still 60 and quarters. So what I'm going to do is zoom in on our viewing area, and you are going to see that we have a pretty large warning polygon here for Livingston County, portions of Ford County, into Iroquois County, and that does go until 5 o'clock this evening for winds that are at 60 miles an hour, and also for the potential for quarter-sized hail. It's moving to the southeast at around 35 miles an hour. We've been kind of waiting for some of these storms to kind of fill in this gap. As I loop things the past 3 hours, what you're going to notice is that we've had a lot of activity just north of our viewing area, and then these storms have really exploded. In fact, the one that is going to be just south of the Minonk area, that was the one that went warning first. And then after that, we got Pontiac, we got Livingston County, Ford, Iroquois counties all included in that. So now we are looking at a kind of a healthy line of storms that has developed, and there could be the chance for some 60 mile per hour wind gusts, as well as quarter-sized hail with that. Again, this is moving off to our southeast around 35 miles an hour. So let me put a track on this here really quick, and you will see that it is covering quite a bit of our northern part of our viewing area. But grab that there, draw it, southeast at 35. So we're looking at about, right now for the Cullum area, 422 for Fairbury. We got 430 for Ashcombe, 438 for Danforth, Gilman 444, Crescent City at 450, potentially Watseka by closer to the 5 o'clock hour, Melvin by about 5, Sheldon and Sheldon a little bit after 5 o'clock. So we are looking at this to be definitely holding together, we're thinking, for the next hour to 2 hours. But once we go later on into the evening, the storms will still be there, but we are looking at probably more of a weakening trend with our storms. What I'm going to do here is pull up our future track, and you'll see that we've got it kind of matching where things are right now. It's doing a better job than what it was thinking earlier on. But for example, here we go at 6 o'clock, and we've got much more of a line of storms that has developed, at least according to this future track model. Maybe a little bit slow by about this point now, maybe about 45 minutes or so. But we're going to have to kind of see here how much more development we are going to get with these storms off to our southwest. A lot of our models are saying that a lot of the viewing area will end up seeing some of these storms, but some of them have not just popped up yet. So we are still kind of playing the waiting game with some of those storms more off to our west. But as we go throughout the evening hours, these will be slowly marching south, and as these do go off to the south, they'll likely be weakening too. So there's not much in the way of as intense showers and storms coming on through. Definitely some heavy downpours by later on tonight. Definitely still the potential there for some gusty winds, but the severe threat does go down a little bit more. We do have a slight risk from the Storm Prediction Center for the northern half of our viewing area, extending off to the northeast from there, with a marginal risk surrounding the area. So we're kind of in right now the target zone for the storms that we have right now to really be potentially getting at their strongest, holding together for an hour or so, hour or two, and then weakening a bit more as we go later on into the evening. Again, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning that does include portions of Livingston, Ford, and Iroquois counties in our viewing area until 5 o'clock. And these are moving off to the southeast at around 35 miles an hour. Here's a look at our camera from, oops, that's from Springfield. Let me, I'm on a different computer here. So let me, sorry, we got Jacob in here. And Jacob, when you're ready to take over and turn your mic on.
Yeah, my mic is on, and
okay.
I will, I'll get that camera switch for you here momentarily.
Yeah, you good. Mine's just slowly chugging up here. It's a Tuesday after a major holiday, so it's computers are running a little slow.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, so as you can see, we've got Pontiac behind me right now, and we have the darker clouds. We've got the rain shaft behind there, and this camera is looking straight off to the west. So at that point, you'd be looking at some of the storms that have some warnings on them, but if it was looking more to the north, which would be if I were to turn the camera and turn right, it would look a lot more impressive. But there it is looking over at those storms just off to the west of Pontiac there. You've definitely got a ton more lightning that's also developed with this too. And these are moving off to the southeast now. We've got lightning usually is not a requirement for severe weather, but the more lightning strikes that there are, the better chance that that storm is intensifying. And so we probably are looking at an intensification on the far west side of this line of storms currently. And as we kind of zoom out a bit more, move out a bit more, you get a few more cells that are starting to pop up here south of Peoria, and those could end up becoming some stronger storms too. Those are what we call the tail end Charlie storms. So there is no interference from any other storms at that point. There's a lot of fresh air coming into them, and they can get going. So we are looking at Livingston, Ford, Iroquois counties in our viewing area currently until 5 o'clock for storms that have 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible, and also 1 inch in diameter hail that's possible too. We'll go through some of our threats here broken down, and you'll see that, just checking a few things here, you'll see that nothing here is essentially a very high risk right now. We do have the damaging wind risk, which is going to be probably our highest category here. It's got the yellow, so we're out of a scale of 1 to 5, it's at a 2. And in terms of our tornado risk, we also have that 1 up to a 2 as well, but it's in a different spot. It's kind of more in the northeast portion of our viewing area, which makes sense because the storms that we're moving through Kankakee right now, which would be technically just behind this banner, there was a tornado warning earlier on for the Shanahan area a little bit ago. So we're going to change things over to meteorologist Dickey. I'm going to switch my view around here. He's going to take over. He's got some things we'll talk about, and we'll just keep on going with this coverage. Jacob, you're on right now.
We've been watching some of these storms. We've talked about it for a while, Jack. Last week, it was Wednesday, Thursday. Internally, we were saying, hey, Tuesday.
Probably going to happen.
Yeah, looks like one of those days for some strong storms. And here we are. Days later, of course, you get the chance for this line of storms to move on in. And right on forecast, right on time here, seeing the storms now moving into northern parts of our viewing area, moving to the south. There were some questions on how far to the south and west they would continue to build. We're seeing some indications, perhaps from Eureka towards Morton, down to areas west of Tremont, of maybe some more storms getting going there. So we're going to watch that part for parts of Tazewell, Mason counties to see more storms build down there and swing off to the south. So that's something that we're going to watch here for a little while. Other than that, most of the day has been beautiful out there across central Illinois. We've had warm temperatures, gusty south winds, lots of sunshine, but to the north, that's not been the case here. That line of storms now is moving in south of Kankakee on the Iroquois-Kankakee County line, and that's going to be near Chivans, and north of Clifton on the county line for Ford County, also near Cabry. Then we look off to the west into Livingston County. That line steadily progressing off to the south and east at about 35 miles an hour. I want to show you a little bit different of a view here. This is a look on Radarscope. It's a great app. I enjoy having it myself. If you're a weather enthusiast, you like to have a little more access to some data, it works very well for us. And this is what we're looking at here. You can see some of those towns that are popping up. Kankakee, Pontiac, Bloomington Normal, there's Champaign-Urbana. This is Interstate 57, there's Interstate 55. Interstate 74 runs here. 72 that takes you to Springfield is down there. Iroquois County, Ford County, Livingston County right there. And you'll see some of these little icons here. These little icons are indicating that there's some wind damage report. These storms have been prolific wind producers. Some of the reports coming out of the South Chicago Metro. There's been semis blown off of I-55 at Arsenal Road. If you've ever taken that route up, you know that that's the case. And you know exactly where that's at here. That's there north of Braidwood and near the Joliet area. Then in addition, we continue to watch some more areas of some wind reports coming on in with a strong line here. There is going to be a new warning that's just come out for McLean County, and we'll see that here in a moment pop up. And Jack, if you want to hit the social whenever that warning pops on in, that one just came across my phone. Of course, if you've got the WCI3 weather app first for Champaign County, a lot of these areas, you've got that severe thunderstorm watch. And now those warnings are starting to fill on in. So we'll watch and see when that pops up and in. But a strong corridor of storms here with some indication of some more development right here. The air's been a little stable and held on pretty strong there. There's that new warning now. It's going to be for parts of eastern Marshall, looks like northeastern, it'll be eastern Woodford County and northern McLean County, including Lexington, Chenoa, Gridley. The US 24 corridor in McLean County won't include Bloomington Normal. It won't include Leroy. It does not include Saybrook. I'll zoom in a little bit on there, though. It looks like it will include Colfax, but not Anchor. And that line of storms continues to slide to the south and east. General trends are showing us that we're seeing more back building of these storms. And they'll have a hail threat and a wind threat with them too. And so that's something that we're going to watch here with that new warning that came on in. Other areas here, looks like Pontiac in the thick of it, Flanagan, Cornell, Waldo, here's Chenoa, here's Gridley, there's I-55, the prison on the southwest side of town, Odell, starting to exit from the rain. Still some strong storms in Dwight there right now. Here's Emmington, there's Sonneman. You've got Sonneman, where's that four-way stop with the flashing red light. There's a gas station in the corner there, just west of town. There's the Pontiac Christian School. Here's the city of Pontiac. Chatsworth, Forest, Fairbury, ahead now, Cullum. We're looking at Stell, Piper City, down towards Roberts. In on this warning. Roberts actually not in the warning, but downstream from it. I expect this line of storms to continue its southeastward progression, and that's going to continue to fill in. And so heads up downstream, Roberts, Thawville, Onarga, Gilman, Sibley, and Melvin for that particular area. Even into Iroquois County here, this line will continue to dive to the south and east. So Gilman, Watseka, Cissna Park, we think you'll get your shot here at some more strong to severe storms. And I'll loop this for you. This will show you the last 30 minutes or so. That general trend to the south and to the east continues here across the region. So we'll be watching this. Mainly is going to be a wind threat, the 20 to threat low, not zero, as Jack mentioned earlier. And we'll show those graphics again. If something were to spin up, it'd probably be in this area right here, north of Interstate 74. And that's been the message for us since last night. We can't rule out also some hail. These storms have really overperformed with the hail in the region, Jack. Earlier, they've had up in the Chicago metro, quarter, golf ball, $50. They've even had some baseball-sized hail in parts of the metro area up in Chicago. These storms are more linear, which suggests that the hail threat is still lower, but I can't rule out maybe an isolated area of some quarters, maybe $50, the next step up, ping pong ball size, probably no larger than golf balls. But by and large, most of us will not see this. Most of us are going to see the frequent lightning and the damaging winds from this here as it continues to move on in. Before I send it back to you, Jack, I'm just going to take a look at a few other things here. I want to look at our velocity and show how the wind is moving here. We're using the Lincoln Tower. Remember, green going towards red, coming away. And what immediately catches my eye, Jack, is this little feature right here. Just a subtle feature. The outflow boundary ahead of these storms is actually already pushing into northern McLean County, but sometimes in the tail end, that outflow boundary can connect with that last lingering storm, the tail end Charlie, and so that might be an area we have to watch. I'm not immediately concerned about it, but it's in about the right spot where maybe something could get going later, so that's an area we'll watch. But by and large here, these bright value colors showing us some strong winds here coming into eastern Livingston, northern Ford, northern Iroquois County, and I suspect that warning is going to be extended soon. So that's what I'm looking at, Jack. I don't know about you, if you've got more info. You've got the hail size also being plotted there. We aren't overly worried about hail, but I think you'd agree, Jack, it's been a bit impressive for us here.
Yep. So I'll take it back in control here. And in fact, the new warning that we did get for portions of McLean County, again, that northeast corner of McLean County, is included because we've got a fairly decent hail core there just to the north of the Gridley area. So that is right now our biggest hail core. As we zoom out, like Jacob was saying, it's a very linear setup right now with our storms, which typically is more of a wind threat. Everything else in terms of hail is pretty small right now. Earlier on, when the storms were a bit farther north, up into the, in the Chicagoland area where they're up by, when these storms were moving more through kind of the I-80 corridor, there was some big time hail up there, but that storm has now moved farther off to the east, and it's not really as much of a hail threat anymore. So really, as of right now, hail isn't too much of a concern, but it is still there. The storm right there by the Gridley area is right now the one that we are watching in terms of the largest hail core. But in terms of the winds, like Jacob just showed, we do have quite a bit there in the way of the strong winds being seen here on our velocity. Again, we've got the bright colors. That would be shooting away from the storm. This would be all of your outflow winds coming away from the storm. And it's a pretty bright color there, which does indicate that there's a potential for some of these strong winds aloft to make it down to the surface where there could potentially be some damage. And again, that little bit of an itty-bitty feature there also right there by the Gridley area, kind of just north of there by the Waldo area. We do have a little bit of some kind of rotations being picked up there. Again, it's more so differences in storm outflow from the different cells, and so that's what we're watching. Yeah.
I was just looking to see if I had the IFB. I think I'm an IFB cable, just in case. And then, do you have an IFB box jack?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you're wearing one, so
Yep.
cool. Okay,
Yep.
Sorry, didn't mean to bother.
No, you're good. You're good. So that's live TV for you folks. So, kind of to reset here, we have our warnings. Technically, we have 2 warning polygons in our viewing area. We've got, and unfortunately, again, like I said, we're having some issues with our system here where the warning box isn't popping up here. So we've got Iroquois County right here. We've got the northeast corner of Iroquois County in there, the northern part of the T, the upside down T for Ford County, and then we've got a majority of Livingston County and into McLean County. Let's go back to our Skycam that is in Pontiac, and we've got the rain on the lens there. It's nothing too impressive as of right now. The storms are already over the area, so we got some heavy rain occurring there. We got some frequent lightning, but nothing in terms of a feature right now that looks to be very impressive on that camera. We'll zoom on out here, and again, just as we look at the overall loop here of our storms, you've got more lightning that is popping up here with this storm area in the kind of the western side of Livingston County going into McLean County. That's also where we saw where our strongest hail core was. And these are all moving off to the southeast at around 35 to 40 miles an hour. We do have more development back off to our west, so this is also getting going now too. So that's going to be interesting to see what that will do as we go into the next couple hours here this evening, and how our storms will be able to potentially strengthen on this side. Again, we call these guys the tail end Charlie storms because we don't have anything impeding on their airflow to strengthen here. But I am going to go back to our hail size here and just check out if we have anything.
And while you do that, Jack, if I can, we just got a viewer picture I wanted to share.
Yes,
And so I'm going to pop that up real fast. This came from
switch
Lori
it back
Cunningham.
to you.
She sent that to us. There we
Oh,
go.
you're controlling it? My bad.
There you go. I just did it real
Yep.
quick there. She sent that picture to me on Facebook here, and she just sent another one that I'll get up in a moment. But you can see how low the clouds are.
Yep.
That leading edge showing some of the outflow winds coming on out. So I thought that was cool to kind of show here and give a view. Kevin is also up in that area, and we'll see about hearing from him during the 5 and 6.
Yep. Yeah. Kevin's got the storm tracker, so he's going to be our eyes on the ground there, and so it's going to be important to see what he sees. Again, the hail size right there by the Gridley kind of Meadows area, the Waldo area, right there. That's going to be right now our big hail size, and in fact, we've got some purple showing up there, which shows that it's actually a little bit stronger. In fact, as we kind of go back a couple steps, you'll see that it was by the Woodford area, and now it really has strengthened here quite a bit. So we'll keep an eye on this as we go through the next couple hours. Also, switch it over to our velocity, and you'll see that again. Our velocity has a lot of bright colors there, with red signifying that it's going away. And technically right now this is my Lincoln radar, so let me switch it over to Chicago. Technically it's changing the colors there, but it's a little bit closer. These counties, Livingston, Ford, Iroquois counties, these are under Chicago's jurisdiction, so that's why we'll switch it up there. And again, you still got, even though it changed the colors, you've got still some bright colors that are showing up here, signifying that we got some strong winds there. Now back off to our west, that's not to be as apparent with that little rotation feature. And even right now, switching radars back over to Lincoln's radar, it's still not very good. So not necessarily rotation per se, but we do have differences in wind direction right in that area. And sometimes that can help to strengthen a storm as it progresses. Again, these are all moving off to the southeast at around 35 to 40 miles an hour. And as you look at our future track, you'll see that doing a better job now picking up on some where the storms are a little bit. These are 2 new additions here with our latest high-resolution rapid refresh model. And so as we go into the 6 o'clock hour, it gets closer to I-74. And as we go later on into the evening, it pushes on farther to the south. And actually what it's doing is, I think it's doing a better job now of the timing to get it out of here a little bit faster. It was trying to have some storms linger in the area maybe around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's not necessarily what we were thinking. So it's speeding it up to get it out of here, which is good. It's kind of what we were thinking was going to happen anyways. So doing a little bit of a better job with our storms there. And again, we're looking at really the next, it's 4:34 right now. So we're really looking until about 7 o'clock to have this kind of peak window of our strongest storms. And once you get after 7 o'clock, we do anticipate there being a kind of weakening trend with our storms. We may still have some warnings that are still left over, but in terms of there being the warnings that we have out there and the number of warnings for the strength of those storms, that just might not be as strong anymore. So again, until about 7 o'clock is when we're looking at kind of things to begin to wind down after 7 o'clock. And like I said, there still could be some warnings here and there, but I do think that overall the trend at that point would be for some weaker storms. It makes sense as those storms kind of move out of the target zone. This is our severe storm outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, and you'll see that once they kind of get to Highway 36, those storms really do begin to weaken a bit more. It gets out of that slight risk area, goes to a marginal. So again, it just kind of all makes sense. As we go later on to the evening, these will begin to weaken out a bit more. It's also been a very windy day, as we know. Our gusts have been coming in out of the southwest, and sometimes they've been, even right now, up to around 35, almost 40 miles an hour. So it's a very fall-like setup for today. We've got a cold front coming through. It's warm and it's windy, and then after that cold front comes on through, it'll then be a cooler day. So tomorrow is going to be a great day for us with a lot of sunshine, still kind of breezy, but a lot of cooler, more comfortable temperatures. But it is September 7th, so fall is beginning to get here. So this is kind of a fall-like setup here for us. Here we go with Pontiac once again. You've got now at this point a lot more in the way of some torrential rains in the area. And so just take it safe out there if you're up in this area. And we're going to go send it off now to Jacob, who's got a bit more stuff. Just got a couple of things here. Everything's good. Everything's good with our warnings.
There we go.
Jacob, here you go.
All right, so let's talk a little more about these storms and where they're at, and I'll show some trends that I've been looking at. A couple of reports that have come across, Jack. They had some quarter-sized hail near Minot. That's in northeastern Woodford County. That's the only report I see recently. So they're watching that storm heading towards Chenoa, that stronger core there, and that'll eventually slide to the south and east. Downstream to that, probably Fairbury, Strawn, Risk, Forest, even into Ford County here. I think there'll be an extension to that warning, probably Sibley, Melvin. That core probably going to stay north of Gibson City, but not by much. What I wanted to do, Jack, is talk a little bit downstream and some of this development we're seeing. Some of our guidance over the last couple of hours and even the couple of days have suggested that as this line gets into central Illinois, our viewing area, you would see a more rapid upscale growth with these storms here. So we are in the infancy stages of that. The general trend here with that line now from El Paso towards Deer Creek, Mackinac, down towards Tremont, Manitou, Havana. As it moves on in, then we'll expect the rest of southeastern McLean County, perhaps Logan County, to start seeing some storms in the next half an hour or so. And that trend continues with southwest here. How far south and west it goes, we'll wait and see. I'm going to switch over to a product. This is normally our debris detector, but what I'm looking for now is I'm actually looking for updrafts. I'm looking for where there's rain being detected, and you look at fine here, the red color indicating where there's some of these updrafts here. The furthest southwest it goes, looks like it's cutting into southwestern Mason County, north of Virginia, north of Chandlerville. And so we'll see how further down the line those storms can develop here. The strongest storms, by and large, though, still remain in the northern part of our viewing area. That best threat has consistently been north of Interstate 74, along and north of it. And that's where this big batch of storms is. But we are a little uncertain that southwestern extent. So that's what we're going to keep watching and keep our eyes on for a little while longer. Other than that, it's been the main event for us. That warning for Kankakee County at least the eastern part of the county has been let go. The main storms now with the warning is going to be that line from north of Watsika back to the west towards Fairbury, Forest along US 24, and then eventually into El Paso with that McLean County warning. So we'll watch it and keep an eye on it here. You see it's moving south with a little eastward component. So if we draw that line there, this initial batch, if nothing else develops, will stay north of Champaign-Urbana, assuming there's no hard right turn. Sometimes these storms can take a quick right turn. You know, they'll be going southeast and they may turn more south-southeast. If that happens, then we might get it. Where we'll have to watch in Champaign-Urbana and points to the south here is going to be this further development, I think, over Bloomington. That's what we're going to watch is to the northwest towards Bloomington, right up 74. I suspect if a storm develops, if it's on 74, that's coming into town here, and so we'll watch it. But the strongest storm still right now, northern McLean, Livingston, Ford, and Iroquois counties as it moves off to the south and to the east. Let's zoom in a little bit, and then I'm going to show you some graphics for here for a bit. And the time right now, of course, we haven't really talked much about that, 4:39. So we just want to make sure we're keeping cues with times here. That little area that I was watching, that little, some greens and reds kind of had my eye, no longer there. So that tells you wind threat primarily. And I'll even switch radars from Lincoln to Chicago just to confirm my thoughts, get multiple views, multiple ways that we can look at these storms and bring you the best coverage. There's nothing really here that's concerning at this point, and I don't see anything else in the line that's really concerning here. You can see these reds from the Chicago, the strong outflow winds here, and that's still going to be the case here with those storms further to the south. But at this point, Lincoln radar will start to give us a bit of a better view, and so we're going to continue to watch that for a little while longer. And you still see here some more development, perhaps some lightning starting to fill in on there too as the storms. But the heaviest storm I suggest right now, one near Clifton, the other one now crossing Interstate 55 south of Pontiac between Pontiac and Chenoa, north and east of Lexington. Colfax, Gridley, Fairbury, Forest downstream from that starting to get on the rain. Let's take a look at some of our graphics real fast here and just show you that risk area. Again, we talked last night, if you watched my forecast, at 10 o'clock last night, and even at 5 and 6, we mentioned we thought the slight risk may be pulled a little further to the south and west. That finally happened. It happened this morning. They did it again this afternoon now, including Lincoln, Decatur, and areas just to the north of Springfield in that level 2 slight risk. Everyone else is in a level 1 risk. If you want more of the county-by-county breakdown, I've got a really great graphic that tells more about the threats for your county on our Facebook page, WCIA3 News. You can also go to my page and Jack's page to take a look at that. As the storms continue getting south of Interstate 72, they'll weaken in severity, but still could get some rain, some frequent lightning down there, even some gusty winds. That main area for maybe a tornado or two is going to be up here north of 74 as advertised. Area-wide can't be ruled out. We'll watch it. More of a wind threat than anything from this point out. That hail threat maybe not quite as there. We just can't rule it out. We'll monitor it, but storms will quickly move linear and become more hail producers. And then, of course, that large hail risk, low, not zero, maybe an isolated pocket or two as some of these storms get going. If we do get one of those hail cores, though, the best chance to see the largest hail is going to be northwest of Champaign, where these storms are developing. Early on, when those updrafts get going, they'll develop very quickly. A lot of upward motion could give us some large hail for an initial 15-30 minutes before they trend linear and turn to straight line winds. And that's what we've seen before, so we've kind of brought that risk here, that orange area with some golf ball sized hail along the I-55 corridor. We could get some quarters in the neighborhood here in Champaign-Urbana. Not really thinking the hail is a big threat, but if we do get it, the bigger hail will be to the north and west of us here in the region. This is a look at the impacts. Now, if you watch this and you want to know just generic area-wide, this is what we're looking at. Of course, wind has always been the biggest threat. Tornado threat low, not zero. Our hail threat has still been low for central Illinois, but if we get a pocket or two, it could be fairly large, and we're not overly concerned about flooding either. Some spots could get a quick half-inch to an inch of rain, but these storms are moving, so there's no training of storms, so flash flooding not a concern at this point. There may be some local ponding on roadways and in neighborhoods as those storms roll on through. This is a look at future track. Overall, not bad. The general trend here is you notice how it continues to show that development further to the south and west. We're watching that about 5, 6 o'clock. It'll start moving into Champaign County here and looks a little more broken. We thought all along these are more scattered in nature, clusters of strong to severe storms, so there will be some folks that miss out, others that don't. Once we get 7, 8 o'clock, you see the general trend continuing south, but looks lesser in intensity. Then that gets out of here before all is said and done here. 10 and 11 o'clock, we should be done, even probably before then. So Jack and I will get to go home on time tonight. Isn't that nice to think, Jack?
Yes.
At least these storms aren't running late. That severe thunderstorm watch, too, it doesn't go all that late. I think it's 9 o'clock, isn't it?
Yep, it goes. In fact, if you wouldn't mind, I can just switch over really fast here. We have had a number of counties that have been trimmed from the severe thunderstorm watch. So right now we've got still our whole viewing area is still impacted. Nothing really changed there, but you'll notice though outside off to the northwest and then a lot of the Chicago counties that were within that watch area have now been dropped. And then I'll go to got a new report here from a storm spotter in the Minooka area, which is in Grundy County. There's a report via social media of tractor trailers overturned at a cold storage facility at around 3:07 from earlier on this afternoon. So that just shows you how strong the winds were with that. Velocity, we'll take a look at that right now. Again, we still do have some of these bright colors, which would be coming in. Again, these are Chicago's jurisdiction, so we have Chicago's radar turned on right now, and so these winds would be going technically toward the radar a bit more, but really what we are noticing is that some of the brighter colors are still there, so we still do have a wind threat with this, but also the hail threat too remains there too. But you'll notice though that one spot that was by the Gridley area, which is now by the Chenoa area, that is now slightly weaker. We still have a little bit of an area there. It's got some purple showing up, which is still indicating we've got some chance for some decent hail out of that, but that core is kind of coming down just a little bit. We've been saying, though, that as we go more and more into the evening hours, we're going to see more and more storms kind of stretch out along this cold front that will come through. The thing is, though, is that our window of opportunity for the severe stuff is only a few hours or so. So we may actually have more storms by, let's say, 8 o'clock this evening than we have right now, but the severe threat will likely be a little bit lower as it does so. Still, the chance for storms will be there, but we're thinking that kind of the severe threat is between now and about 7 o'clock, give or take. Let's take a look at our sky cam from Pontiac. We still do have the heavy rains there in Pontiac, and we also do have our other sky cams, which let me pull that up here and see if we can get something different view. I'm just checking a few more things while talking with you folks. Okay, put this on channel 2, and let me go to Gibson City. We'll see what's on Gibson City. We just got a new warning. Okay, so that's what Gibson City looks like right now. The shelf kind of there.
It's just a continuation of the warning.
Oh, a continuation of the warning. Gotcha. We still do have technically 14 minutes left of these warnings that go until 5 o'clock. We've got it for McLean and also for Livingston, Fort Iroquois. Those all go until 5 o'clock here. So we will have to kind of be careful here as we go probably within the next 10 minutes because we got our 5 o'clock newscast that'll be coming up. And so we'll have to kind of switch gears there for that. Yep, Chicago also continuing Fort Iroquois, technically Kankakee and Livingston counties until 5 o'clock also. So we've got all of our counties that are warned until 5 o'clock. They are all for the same. We've got 60-mile-per-hour winds possible out of it and quarter-sized hail. And these are all moving off to the southeast at around 35 to 40 miles an hour. Jacob, do you have anything that you want to show or not yet? He's drinking water.
You caught me mid-drink there. If you want, Jack, what I can do is I can kind of take things over for a little bit on the quad, and then if you want to make sure your show's ready, kind of organize behind the scenes, and about 5 or 6 minutes or so, we'll wrap this up.
Yep.
If that's something that works for
you.
I
got you over there right now. So you're
okay,
good
perfect. And then I'll turn your mic off so you can go back and talk to
Yep.
production, make sure you're all squared away, and we'll keep this coverage going until the newscast. So this is that line of storms. So we just checked in with Kevin. He's going to be live for us at 5 o'clock during the 5 o'clock news. And so we're going to monitor him and keep an eye on that. He's up there in Iroquois County, last check. He's probably looking more to the west also now as we look towards Chenoa, Fairbury, towards Forest, Chatsworth, A lot of that heavy rain and wind coming on through here and continues to do so. You'll notice they just trimmed that box back, updated the severe thunderstorm warning for Ford, Kankakee, Iroquois, and Livingston County here. Pontiac in the clear, Odell in the clear, Dwight in the clear now, and you're done not only for tonight, but for the next 5 to 7 days, really. Those rain chances are done after this cold front goes through for a while. Jack's going to have the full forecast updates as well at 5 and 6, but we'll keep talking about the storms here on our digital platforms. Further down here, you'll notice the storm here, Chenoa, Lexington. There's Interstate 55. Here's Towanda. Right about here sits... there's Cooksville. We've got Lerna, Cooksville, Colfax, Anchor. Lexington sits here. Chenoa is there. Gridley's back to there. You've got Fairbury here. There's Forest. There's Illinois 47. Here's Illinois 9. Illinois 74, Leroy down that way. That storm mainly is in northeastern McLean County, but I'll be suspicious here as we watch this line continue to develop here. Some of these more storms may become severe once they get through and past Bloomington Normal. So the eastern half of McLean County, the southeastern half, really south and east of I-55, there probably will be a new warning that comes out here in a little bit. So we'll need to watch that and keep an eye on it and you know how things go. And that warning probably will come before 5 o'clock. Again, all of these warnings end at 5. That doesn't mean the threat is over. That just means they'll have to issue new ones. Then they'll usually do that before they get a new warning or so in place. So continue to watch. It looks like we just had, just getting some info from the National Weather Service. Kankakee County, there's a lot of lightning. They've actually had a home damage by lightning up there with this storm. So there's been some wind damage as well with this line of storms here, so we'll continue to watch. I'll look just to make sure. Velocity product not overly concerning here. In fact, as I kind of go back and forth, what I think we're seeing is this little spot right here. Sometimes you like to see those reds and greens come together. We're actually seeing a downburst signature. Winds are blowing down and out, but they're also blowing a little bit behind here. So that's not necessarily rotation at this point, but still a sign that there is at least some strong winds in northeastern McLean County. That's going to be crossing US 24 now, west of Fairbury into McLean County. And you'll see here, here's Fairbury, there's Chenoa. Right to the east of Chenoa is where that little corridor of strong winds that I'm seeing are at. The other thing is looking upstream here, still going to be some strong winds now for northern Ford and northern Iroquois County. This warning for Livingston, Ford, Iroquois County is issued by the National Weather Service in Chicago, so there will probably be a different polygon that fills in these counties to the south and to the east, whereas this one in McLean County is the National Weather Service office in Lincoln. Different offices have different responsibilities. They'll still work together and coordinate warnings, but they issue warnings for their counties only. So we'll probably see is a funky looking warning that cuts down here for parts of Ford County, and an extension of that McLean County warning will likely come as well based on current trends, and it may be pushed a little more to the south and west here as these storms continue to build towards Bloomington Normal, off towards the west. The Rivian Parkway, the Rivian plant, the old Mitsubishi plant there, then it carries to the south and west with some spotty showers there, and those are continuing to show signs of some development. It is 4:51 now. We'll be here for another 3 or 4 minutes, and then we're going to flip things for the newscast at 4:57, 4:58 that we start. So we'll have that. Jack will be live during the show. He's behind the scenes getting things done now. We're just keeping our digital coverage going here for you. But make sure you join us at 5 because we'll see a live look from Kevin in the Storm Tracker. You can see that live on CBS. We'll end our digital coverage here, but you can switch to our stream live in the app. That's also a place you can watch the news if you don't have access to TV. Your antenna probably going to work a lot better at this point than satellite. Cable should work, but satellite, if you have that, you'll want to start thinking how you're going to get your information. The WCIA3 weather and news app stream coverage for you. They do that, and you can get all the newscasts there. We'll probably jump back in digital at 5:30, do the show for the 6 o'clock hour, barring any other circumstances playing out. But mainly here, it seems like northern McLean, Ford, Iroquois, Livingston County now are our main area of concern. North of Interstate 74, Champaign-Urbana, these storms here are the ones we'll have to watch. They're not developed yet, but we're starting to see indications that they're starting to get more robust in nature. If that trend continues, then that severe threat will continue to the south and to the west along that cold front. At this point, we can give it all clear for Pontiac. It's behind it. No more rain for a number of days here. Bloomington in about 30 minutes, once that cold front passes, you'll be done. And then we'll start knocking people out and saying, you're finished for the night. You can go have a nice evening. In fact, it'll be a great evening in Pontiac. Winds will turn to the north. Behind this, still a bit breezy, but cooler, drier air coming in for a couple of nice late summer, early fall days across the region as we go into later on this weekend. So that'll be Wednesday, Thursday, before Friday. The heat starts getting a little higher, but Jack's going to talk more about the forecast again during the newscast. Area-wide here, looks like there's a couple of storms trying to develop behind the front. I say you're done. The severe threat is done. I don't expect any problems with these here if there's any more scattered ones that develop into the region. So that's something that we'll continue to watch and keep an eye on. But these storms here, going to be some new warnings probably popping in at any point. Just looking at things now, it is 4:53. So what we'll do is we'll bring you those warnings in WCIA3 News at 5 if they don't pop up here in the next 90 seconds. So yeah, just kind of checking there. We'll have anything, and we'll also post that to our social media. So we'll take care of all of that and keep you updated. So with that, Jack, while you're over there, let's go ahead and wrap up our digital coverage, and we'll get ready for the show that's at about 5 minutes from now. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Meteorologist Jack Gerfen will have your updates at 5 o'clock on WCIA3 News. You can join us there. We stream through our app, our 5 and 6 o'clock shows. Probably at 5:30, if trends support it, we'll be back for coverage on our digital platforms, again, including Facebook Live and whatnot. But you'll want to tune into CBS either on the app, on the website, on antenna. If you have it still satellite, but some folks are probably going to lose satellite in the heaviest rain. Did that all the time for me growing up. Well, we'll have more on these warnings and see if they don't extend them. If you do get a warning in your area, your first place to get that will be through the WCIA3 weather app and at the bottom of the TV screen. And we'll have updates throughout the 5 o'clock show. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Stand by for our 5 o'clock news.